Allah, Jehovah, Ma'at, Rastafari, fire, dance, sex, music, hip hop. It's bigger than religion, hip hop, yeah. It's bigger than my nigga, hip hop. Hope you all are well. It's bigger than the government, yes. This one is for Dilla, hip hop. We're jamming today. Right on. Just waiting for a few people to come in. Thanks for this love. Yes. We just live invisible underwater stove top. Come out with your hands up, hey. Get baptized. All right. I just wanted to take a few minutes. Right on. You're feeling this with me. I absolutely love Erica. Right. Well, that was my little intro, my little musical intro. How are you? How are you? I hope that you're well. I hope you had a wonderful evening, a beautiful morning, afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Odessa. I am a womb wellness coach, and I presently help women who are IVF candidates or over the age of 30 and dealing with reproductive health conditions who want to increase their chances of conceiving in the next 12 to 18 months. And I do this through my 3-phase womb cleanse protocol. And so today I wanted to come and talk to you about, did I wait too long to try and have my baby? This is a big, big pain point that a lot of women are asking me, especially if you have waited a long time. And so what usually happens is we spend a lot of time setting down roots. We spend a lot of time, preparing for work life. We're told to avoid getting pregnant or having babies in our 20s, forego your 20s and wait until your 30s because you want to get a good education, you want to travel more, you want to live a full life, right? And oftentimes I'm getting all these messages on my phone. Yesterday was the same thing, messaging me, calling me during these lives. Guys, please. But what's happening though is there's this desire to finish school. There's this desire to travel the world. There's this desire to experience life, get a great job, meet friends, just experience life from a different perspective, something different than what your parents may have had, than the people around you may have had, spending more time developing your individualness, your individuality, who you are, what you like, getting to know yourself. And I think this is really important. I actually tell my daughter this all of the time. It is important for you to get out there and live life before you decide to settle down and have your children, because there are a lot of women and a lot of families who do live with, should have, could haves, because they didn't spend the time experiencing and experimenting before. But then what does happen is that, when it comes time to settle down and have these babies, now you've entered into a stable relationship with someone, you've decided that this is the person you want to develop roots with, you want to put down roots with, you want to build a legacy with, you want to build a family with, you want to create something long lasting with them. And you make the adjustments and the changes and you make those steps to have your baby you're coming up against these questions, well, I've been taking birth control for a really long time. Do I need to come off of birth control, and wait a little bit? Or I've had an IUD for a long time, or I've been taking this medication for a long time. And not in many cases, women are able to conceive immediately afterwards. But in some cases, there are a lot of questions and worry. And so you might visit your doctor and visit your specialist, and you might hear that, everything is okay. Don't worry about this because it's not going to affect your fertility, right? So if this is what you're working through, what we do end up coming to see is that if you've been living with these chronic health conditions for X amount of years, and when I say chronic, it's important that we express, or that I clarify, chronic as living with a condition that has been there for 2 years and more, right? So there are women who have recently come into the knowledge of their fertile issues, or recently come into the issue of irregular cycles. This is something that just happened in the last couple of months. That's not what I mean by chronic. I'm talking about women who have been dealing with irregular cycles for, 10, 15, 20 years, women who, are dealing with excessive bleeding, women who know that they have polycystic ovarian syndrome, women who are pretty sure that they have premature ovarian insufficiency, right? So, and when you know that you've been living with a chronic condition for a couple of years, you pretty much know that this is what you've been doing. Just want to say hi to everyone who's coming on the live right now. And so if you've been living with these chronic health conditions for years, right? And you've been living your life. You've been living your best life, right? You've been doing the travel. You've been visiting the places. You've been going to the restaurants. You've been drinking the drink and doing the things. You have to understand that the way that you've been vicariously experiencing life and not caring for your body, right, in its chronic health state, can actually impact your ability to conceive, right? It can completely hinder your ability to conceive, or it can just make that incline very steep for you. So what happens, what I'm seeing is that, you're medicating, right? The pain is coming on. The pain is a 4 on 10, a 5 on 10, a 6 on 10. And so you're popping 2, 3, 4 Tylenols in a day, and you might be doing this repetitively, right? So you're suppressing the symptoms that you're experiencing so that you can continue on with life, but it doesn't mean that you're addressing the root cause and the root issue. And because you're taking all of this medication has been known to wreak havoc on your gut health, right? Especially if you're taking antibiotics. It kills off the bacteria flora in your gut. And people, we don't know, we're not told this, right? Because we're readily offered medication. So here you are taking these pain meds, thinking that you're helping yourself to be able to function when you can actually be creating more harm than good. And let's talk about the food, right? How many, okay, like you can raise your hand, you can comment, you can send me some hearts, but how many of you have eaten food and have had such detrimental side effects afterwards? Your belly is hurting you, you've got so much gas, you might be constipated, this gives you a headache. Gut health is so important when it comes to reproductive health. Gut health is so important when it comes to health. Period. Mind, body, and soul. And especially when we're dealing with reproductive health, women don't seem to understand where the uterus lies. The uterus lies right in the epicenter. The bladder is underneath the uterus. The intestines are behind the uterus. The large intestine surrounds the uterus. So if you are experiencing reproductive health problems, right? Your gut health is going to affect it. So if you're eating foods, right, that are creating inflammation, like I have prospects who I have conversations with and clients who tell me, Dessa, after I eat certain foods, I go to the bathroom and it's just painful, or I'm cramping all day long. I have to take, Pepto-Bismol or Tums or whatever it is because the pain is just too much. And you push through. You know that it does this to you, but you look forward to eating it again the next day. You look forward to going to the restaurant and ordering this same dish again. Why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we do this to ourselves? Beauty Within 8 says, so happy that you mentioned gut health. I have found that this is glazed over by, yes, ONs, GYNs I've spoken with. Very much so. But it's also important to know that there's a certain level of knowledge that they do know. There's a certain level of knowledge they don't share with you. And then there's a certain level that they have absolutely no clue about, right? And they're coming from a more scientific perspective, and they're looking for bioidentical, synthetic medicine through pharmacology that they can give, right? So they're not always going to give you these answers. Not every doctor will, right? And some doctors, I've experienced it, and some of my clients have experienced it. It's like some doctors, I think they really forget what they learn, and you ask them some questions and they give you a straight, I don't know answer, and that for me is actually very concerning. I actually had that happen recently where a doctor told me that they didn't think that vitamin D was important for reproductive health, and my eyes bulged out over my head. This was a surgeon who told me this. And vitamin D is actually a hormone, and it is crazy, crazy important. So when you're not in alignment with your gut health, when you are doing things to, floor, eradicate your bacterial flora, your prebiotics, your probiotics, all these things, yeah, girl, it's hazardous to your health, and you're creating long-term difficulties in the long run. Right? Leaky gut syndrome, irritable bowel syndrome, all these different things, and the other thing that I'm noticing people are doing, because you're living your life, you're doing the best of everything, is you're burning the candle at both ends, right? Because I think that things are starting to change, but a lot of people are in this hustle phase, so it's like we're burning the candle at both ends. We're going to bed really, really late. We're working extra long hours. We're taking on extra shifts. We're doing all the things, visiting all the people, and we're exhausted, but we have to do this because it's hustle. Adelina's Embrace says, sad that some providers do that. These are the providers patients trust. And this is a concern that I have, and a lot of people have this as well too. And it's important to bring this up. It's important, and this is why I do the work that I do, because you have to know your body. If you don't know your body, you will have other people who have no idea what you've experienced, what you've lived, and what you're going through right now tell you what you're going through and what you're experiencing. And you're going to sit there and say, okay, and you're going to take that, so it's really important that you're aware of what's going on, And so, yes, you have to educate yourself. And by educating yourself, it's knowing that, okay, well, I'm in the season of life right now where I am trying to prepare my body. You have to be your own advocate. And I have to, now start being aware, like, am I burning the candle at both ends and creating more complication for myself, right? Because if you're burning the candle at both ends, you're creating issues. You're actually keeping yourself in a fight and flight state, right? And this means that your nervous system is very overactive. This means that there are hormones that are being sent into your body, into your system, into your bloodstream that have no business of being in there. This means that you're, experiencing levels of frustration, anxiety that are heightened by your lifestyle, and you're not even sure why, and you can't see the connections. Right? So all of these things are really, really important for us to keep in mind, because if you have chronic health conditions and you're living your life like this, especially if you're over the age of 30, especially if you have, reproductive health conditions, especially if you are considering or have approached fertility doctors, fertility clinics, and have started the process of IVF. You have to know what you're walking into. Adelina's Embrace says, I wish that the education was implemented on reproductive health in elementary school. Yes, 100%. I remember elementary school, and those classes were embarrassing, uncomfortable, and long, but had I known what I know now, had I known a third of what I know now, I'm pretty sure that my trajectory and a lot of other young girls, or folks, boys, girls, people who, in general, their lives would be different, and so we're ruining our gut, right, with excess medication, right? Oh, I just took an easy 3 pills just to cut the pain, right? You're ruining your gut, you're suppressing, you're pushing through the discomfort. I remember sitting around people and they're like, well, I'm allergic to beef, I'm allergic to chicken, I'm allergic to, but they're still eating it. And then after they eat it, like their belly is hurting and they can't go anywhere, but they still get up and going. Yes, I wish little girls knew this when they were little. We would be so knowledgeable, especially by the time we become grown women. And this is why we are doing the work that we do right now, because the cycles haven't stopped. Evolution hasn't stopped. Birthing hasn't stopped. Humanity hasn't stopped. But our level of knowledge has changed and it's growing. And so this is what we're doing right now, So all of these things are resulting in, the difficulty of conceiving, because what happens is you're not caring for your body. You're caring for your experience, right? You're caring for the places that you want to go, the people that you want to see. You're caring for your appearance, right? You look good, you look fresh, you look great, but you feel terrible. You feel terrible. How often do you get dressed and look good to the nines, wearing your high-heeled shoes that are causing your womb to be retroverted, to fall backwards or to fall to the side? Right? How often are you putting on those clothes that are absolutely too tight and cutting into your belly and stopping your circulation, right? And then you're complaining that you have clots when you're menstruating and all of these different things. You're not caring for yourself. And, then we're eating these foods, and what happens? We're becoming mineral deficient. And this is not a joke. If you are filling your body, because food is medicine, right? Food is medicine. And if you are not eating food that is medicine, if you're eating processed foods, denatured foods, your fried foods, your white flours, your alcohol and all these things, you're not putting medicine into your body. These foods break down, and what happens is the chemicals that result from the foods that go into the body that are dispersed to give your body the nutrients and the minerals that it needs. If you're eating junk food, you're creating more problems. You're actually leaching your body. You are depriving your body of the minerals because you're giving it sugar. And then you have a high, you have a rush, you're feeling good, and then you crash, right? And then we're looking at your blood panels. We're looking at all of the different things that we need to look at to be able to determine what's lacking in your physical, to be able to replenish. And it's like, okay, everything that you're doing is not helping. Pop culture is not helping women. It isn't healthy for women. I'm sorry. I'm going to be the one to say it. And let me tell you, I love getting dressed. I love going out. I love doing all the things. Pop culture is not helping women and women's health. And people don't want to hear this. They don't want to hear this. But if you are trying to have a baby, if you are in the process of trying to conceive and you don't know why you're not able to do this, you have to look at your livity. I know people look at, granola lifestyle and they're like, I can't do this. Well, then don't. But you can't complain then if this is the issue that you're working with and you don't want to make the changes, right? I'm just going to be here and I'm just going to give it to you as it is, and I'm one of those people. I'll tell you, I sometimes like to sugarcoat stuff. And then when I don't sugarcoat stuff, it goes straight into the heart. You know what I mean? I go straight to the heart of the matter. So we have to pay attention to this, because then you come around and your egg count is low. And then, your egg quality is poor. right? And then you start asking yourself the question, did I wait too long to have my baby? Now I'm in my 30s. Now I'm approaching 40. I've hit over the age of 40. I'm approaching 50. Did I wait too long to have my baby? Because why? Because of what the doctors are telling you, because of what society is telling you. In my last video, I was explaining that they say that women peak their fertility at the age of 24. Right? And so after that, it's like, okay, you think you're an old woman, right? You think that you're an old woman because this is what you've been taught to think. But you also think you're an old woman because you feel that way in your body. You're 35 and complaining and groaning as you try to get up. You should be sprightly at 35. Like 30 is the new 20, sis. 30 is the new 20. So if you're arriving at these ages and you're like, I'm creaking and I'm old and oh my gosh, I'm approaching 40, this is exactly what you're thinking in your body, right? And so this is the message that your cells are receiving, and this is what they're going to replicate. And that's what they're going to function with. It is all connected. It is all connected. And we need to be more aware of this when we're moving forward, because you did not wait too long to have your baby. You did not wait too long to have your baby. What you didn't do was care for your body. You didn't nurture your body. You didn't nourish your body. You didn't love your body. You put your body in compromising situations. You allowed people into your body, into your intimate space, into your yoni, who have no business being there. They don't have any business being there, sis. This is the truth, right? So if we were looking at what needs to happen now, right? If we were looking at what kind of adjustments, how do you start? You have to start with where you are, right? And that's actually, it's easier said than done. But it has to be done. You have to start with where you are. You have to engage with where you are right now. Take stock. Really take stock. Look, like, what are the things that I have been doing that are not productive? What are the things that I have been doing that are creating more difficulty for me in the moment right now? What are the things that I'm doing that are creating more stress for me in the moment? What are the things that I'm eating that I absolutely love and I tell myself I am not going to do without, but I know for a fact that it's bothering me? You see all that coffee that you're drinking to stay up? Those Red Bulls that you're taking to boost your energy? These things are wreaking havoc on your belly, on your gut health, on your adrenals, on your hormones, on your mind. You've got to stop. Some people will be like, oh, but it's so difficult and I really, really love this. You can continue with it. That's not a problem, but you can't complain if the results that you're looking for are not coming through. And this is not a joke. This is very, very serious. Oftentimes we're going to make those small changes and then, really, get concerned again. It's like, well, I really want to start back again. I'm going to take one or two and it's not going to help. Sis, if you are trying to make changes, if you're trying to move that needle, you have to take yourself seriously. You didn't wait too long to have your baby. Wasn't there a woman in India? I believe she was a Sikh woman at the age of 71. She went through IVF and she had a baby. Now, 71, like, I'm not trying to have no babies at 71, okay? Y'all can bring me my grandbabies at 71. Y'all can bring me my great grandbabies if you want, if you're not too young. And by that time, I think my children should be okay. But I personally am not going to have any children at 71, but it's possible to. There are women having babies naturally at the age of 50. There are women having natural babies, having babies naturally in the age of 40, 30, after having diagnoses from their doctors that leave them feeling destitute and despondent, doubting their capacities. So it's possible. Stop worrying about what should have happened. I should have done this a long time ago. I should not have waited so long to have my baby. Maybe I shouldn't have pursued that master's degree. Maybe I shouldn't have, done all the traveling. No, sis, it's cool. I'm glad you did. I'm glad you had that experience, because now you're able to give your offspring, your children, your babies, an experience that they would not have had otherwise. We have a lot of patients in my unit that are in their 50s. You see, it is possible, 100%, right? It's possible, and it's okay that you lived your life like this. But now that you're trying to get serious, let's really get serious. They're having children. They are. Very true. Exactly. Like I hear the conversations about Odessa, and the tears. It hurts my heart. It really does, because I know, and I hear you. You didn't wait too long to have your baby, but you do have an upwards battle that you have to fight. You have an upwards climb that you have to embark upon, right? Like the nature of the planet, the nature of this earth is life and death. Everything on this planet is striving to thrive. Every single thing on this planet, viruses, bacteria, bad relationships, babies who are born sick, they are struggling to survive. Your body is working hard for you. And if you can put these pieces together, if you can recognize that you have the capacity to regenerate, to rejuvenate, to re-educate your body, your cells, your ovaries, your womb, your pituitary gland, your hypothalamus, your thyroid. We're getting all into it. You got to get familiar with your body. You have to know what is happening with your body at all times, and know that you are able to rejuvenate, and know that you can rely on its capacity. Give thanks for this love. Like, it's just such a passion of mine, because I'm like, y'all don't get it. You see those reptiles that get their leg cut off and it grows back? We're struggling. We're striving to survive here. That's what it is. And so whereas maybe your ovary count, your follicular count may be low, you know what I mean? Maybe we haven't been able to identify, exactly when you're ovulating. Maybe, you're bleeding for 2-3 months, you know what I mean? And you have not been able to, stabilize the bleeding or stabilize what's going on in your body, and you've gone to your primary caregiver and they have told you that there is no hope. I'm going to tell you that there's hope. I'm going to tell you that you are able to organize your body and your system to work with you. I'm going to tell you that it is possible to step into alignment and get into rhythm with your body, because we are rhythmic people. We are rhythmic beings. Y'all, I feel like I'm on a soapbox today. So just like the planet is striving to thrive and survive, like she's in pain right now. And we women, women folk, we womb carriers, because not everybody identifies as being a woman. And I recognize that. And I'm still working on my vocabulary, right? This is amazing. Give thanks. But we womb carriers, we have to recognize what our role is, right? We have to recognize our capacities. We carry the potential for humanity in our ovaries. That's what we carry. We carry the potential for humanity in our ovaries, and humanity cannot and will not continue without this potential functioning properly. But if we are choosing to live our lives in ways, give thanks for that love, Dula Cece, I see you. If we are continuing to live our lives in ways that are unhealthy and justifying them and leaving everything up to bioidentical synthetic medication, then this is going to continue. Then you're not going to believe what you're able to do, what your capacity is able to do. You're not going to see your ability to rejuvenate, you know? So y'all, this was what the talk was about today. Did I wait too long to have my baby? No, you didn't wait too long to have your baby. What you did do was play around with your health too long. And so now you have to rethink how you're living and what you're choosing to do, right? When it comes to rejuvenating yourself. So I just want to take a moment to invite you, if this is you, if any of this resonated with you, feel free to hop into my DMs. Let me know what takeaway, give thanks, what takeaways you got from this live. I would love to know. You can place them in the comment below, #replay. Let me know that you were here. And if you're interested, you can feel free and hook up with me and create that appointment for us to be able to sit down and have that next step call and have this conversation about your nutrition, and have that conversation, about, your gut health, have that conversation about your sleep habits. Let's have this conversation about your health and wellness and the steps that you want to take towards increasing your chances of fertility, because you did not wait too long to have your children. You waited too long to address your chronic health. You waited too long to address your chronic health. And wearing high heels, love that as takeaway and what it does to the uterus. Yes, ma'am, I'm going to be doing some more about that. I have some really great juicy stuff I'm coming with in the future. So make sure you come back. Make sure you come back. That's right. Sleep, all of the things. It's really, really simple, but it isn't always easy to do and maintain because of how we're trained. So you have to shift your thoughts and you have to shift your beliefs, about what you do and how you do it. So when you do, I just wanted to make sure and let you know that if you do sign up for a next step call, what happens is you actually receive an assessment form. You receive a pregnancy prep assessment that you fill in really quickly. And this is going to help you and I to determine the gaps in your health and wellness. Oh boy, the children are back from outside and they're making noise. It's going to help us to determine the gaps in your health and how I can help you build those bridges. Hey, love, give thanks. Thank you for joining. And so feel free, go right on ahead and share with anyone. Hop into my comments. I'm going to go because I hear too much banging and I can't handle it when these children are wild and crazy around me. So y'all take care and I will see you again soon. Be well.